Hey everyone, it's Diane Freeman. I am so glad to catch you on Facebook this beautiful Thursday afternoon. I'm coming on to enjoy a great conversation with Wanda Pearson. You may or may not know that Wanda is my client. I help her help so many small businesses grow. And one of the things that I offer is interviews to help my clients grow. And Wanda is super special. Not only is she an amazing mom, grandmother, faith filled woman, and entrepreneur, she's also a multi author. And she's coming out with a brand new book. And I wanted to interview her and share some information with you all around that. So, Wanda, to get started, what inspired you to write about overcoming obstacles, and how has your faith journey influenced your writing, and how does that tie into the title of your book?
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for having me on. I tell you, this is a pleasure, a bonus for actually interviewing me. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, I tell you, I always said I would never write a book because who would want to read my story? Who would want me? But the thing about it, when you have so much, people don't know what you're going through on the inside. All they see is me smiling and, oh, everything's okay. But when you start actually digging deep down to really bring out, the stuff that you've been hidden for so long, it
Mhm.
actually was something that came out. What inspired me was actually one of my clients, actually, C. Nicole Henderson, asked me to be part of her collaboration book. And the
Mhm.
collaboration book was Audacity to Shine. And when she told me that, and I knew it was God's way of saying, okay, Wanda, it's time. It's time for you to tell your story. Audacity to Shine, I love the title because, I always say, because actually a natural born social worker. That's why I actually had me be a social worker before I got into corporate. But audacity to shine was a word to say we all have the audacity to shine. So it helped me to overcome those obstacles of fear, of self confidence, of self esteem, and learning how to communicate with people that especially you being in corporate. You know how you're in corporate, you don't say things, and you try to keep the peace.
Mhm.
But it helped me to overcome that. But I really have to say I had to rely on the strength from God to be able to write this book and the other books that I'm part of, to dig deep down inside of things that I buried so deep inside. We all bury things that we don't remember. I
Mhm.
buried a lot of things, and I thank God that they did bury, because I don't know what I would be today if I actually let that affect my life. So I know that having that courage to be able to have God's strength, and actually it goes into my title of my books, God's grace, through the fires that I've been through, to be able to have go from struggle to triumph, and how I actually became the person that I am today. So, yeah, so that's part of what I start writing this book, and I started digging deep down inside. But I'm gonna tell you, Diana, I had to go through counseling. My daughters told me, "Why do you need to go to counseling?" And why do I need to go to counseling? I don't need to go to counseling. What I need to go, but when I start going through counseling, therapist,
Mhm.
um, it helped me to remember some things that I totally forgot about. And writing this book, I had to keep praying to God to ask Him to give me that strength, because going through abuse as a child, any kind of abuse that you go through, you don't realize how much you do need that, because it actually affects your mental health, and you never know how you're going to turn out to be the person that you're destined to be, that God's planned for you to be.
Well, I love that, Wanda, and I let me give you extra kudos for your bravery.
Thank you.
It's not easy to share traumas, childhood traumas. A lot of people don't want, from your past, from that time, they don't want to know about what
Yeah,
they did or didn't know about back then, and
yeah,
there's fear around what your family's going to think, what your close family, you're expressing, even potential customers like and I love how you are using it a way to teach others and inspire them to overcome the obstacles that they've had in their lives. And
yeah.
so, it's wonderful that you also, I know that, we work together with you as a business coach, and as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur myself, I know how much of what we do as entrepreneurs is really personal development and growth and faith, because if we don't get up and do what we need to do, we don't get paid anyway. So there is a lot to overcome. And I think also, as an author, you learned a whole new skill set.
Yeah.
And share with us. I know many people tell me that they feel like they have a book in them, but they aren't brave enough to, get out of their comfort zone and actually get it written. What would you say was the biggest challenge that you faced while writing the book, and how did you overcome it?
Well, the biggest challenges, I mean, the other two books I had were collaboration books. So that was all done for me. I just gave my chapter and gave it to them. But this book was more of a challenge because I had to go from the beginning to getting it written. Right. So my biggest challenge was actually getting it done, writing it, and to continue to remember the bad things that happened in my life, and being able to get through that. So I've had a lot of people actually, when I start bringing this out about the book that's coming out, I've had some of my family and friends to say, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. And that second book that I wrote, that I was collaboration, is Impact of One Voice. That book was another one that I actually had to interview with Aubrey Robinson, and she interviewed me, and she said, "You really got deep inside. I really just laid it out, because a lot of people were afraid to do that, but it's a therapy when you do release that, and then you may hurt some family feelings, but at that point, it was more to me to help people versus hurting other family, because it needs to be told. I mean, a lot of people are going through things. A lot of people going through any kind of abuse, and having that strength and faith to be able to get through that. It was not an easy process. So I mean, I was excited when I got it edited. Now it's being formatted, and I'm getting to the point where it's going to be done. But it takes work. But yeah, I can actually now coach you to be able to write that book, and how the step by step you need to go through. So and also the collaboration with other writers of how I took a lot of classes. I'm telling you, I took a lot of classes on publishing, and now I'm actually my own self-publishing. So you're going to see Wanda Pearson as a publisher. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, well, you really took that initial idea of being a part of a couple of other people's ideas and pulled it out of yourself and created your own, and you've really up leveled your identity. Right.
Yes.
Now you're a publisher and a multi-time author. So congrats.
Yeah.
That is so very exciting.
Thank you. I never thought about that, Diane. Yeah, that's true, right? I'm a publisher. That's true.
You're right. You up leveled your identity. Absolutely. In a wonderful way. And so what for, the people out there that are thinking about it, and you definitely need to get with you. And by the way, you'll see ticking along the bottom here, there is a little short link. If you would like to get your copy of God's Grace Through Fire, just go ahead and type in your browser https://bit.ly/GGTF, which is short for God's Grace Through Fire, Wanda. And that will enable you to order the book, and it's only $20. So when this is over, we'll also put that link in the comments so that you can grab it as well. But getting back to writing the book, what, if you could just say 2 or 3 things, not elaborated, because I know you're here to handhold people that that need that. But what couple of things do you think is important that someone knows that's considering writing a book about the actual process that you could share that for them to have in their forefront before they start on this endeavor?
Well, I would suggest writing a journal. I remember my girlfriend said one. I said, "Wow, what am I going to write about?" Having a journal, and start writing down things that you know that can actually, help other people. Not just help other people. I mean, it could be fiction, nonfiction, but just start writing down things. I start actually on my phone, the notes on my phone. I started talking to it and just start, typing things down. And once I gathered all of my notes together, that's what I would suggest is, everybody has a story within them, right? everybody has things that have happened to their life to be able to help others. And that really is so important. You have to get your story, your message out. Get your message out there to really be able to tell people. In fact, some people say, I've been trying to write my book for 20 years. 20 years. I mean, wow. I said, but you need to just get it out there. Just do it. That's the most thing. Just do it. I mean, a lot of people said, no, not now, like I did, not now. Well, don't say not now. Say now is the time, because God has a plan for you. And it's not over until it's beginning to tell your story. That's really what I suggest they do.
I think that's great. And I think, those two tips that probably sounded like no big deal to you, like common sense almost, is huge for a lot of people to know that they could have a journal in their hands. All of us carry our phones are on our person, and that they don't even have to write. They can just open up their favorite notes app, type that little microphone, and use the voice to text. And there's the beginnings of your book right there. So you're helping them run out of excuses really fast about getting started. Yeah. So you talked a lot about your faith and how your faith has really helped you be able to dig up these difficult memories, these difficult experiences, and turn them into a path to growth and happiness for yourself and other people.
Yes.
How has your faith evolved over time, and how has it shaped your perspective on life and your writing?
I have to say because actually I had to keep forgiving. I had to keep forgiving the abuse that I had, I forgot about all that. But when I started writing, things started making me mad all over again, right? So my faith of forgiveness is the biggest challenge that I actually did. And I'm glad that the end of my book, I write a couple of chapters about forgiveness, of how you have to forgive, because, forgiveness is your blessings, right? God forgave us, so we have to forgive others. But then people said, well, why should I keep forgiving them? They keep doing the same thing to me. You got to continue to pray. Pray for forgiveness. And that's a good thing, is what I'm doing as well, Diane. And I do affirmations of keeping myself focused, of what's going to help me. I'm not going to let the bad things in my life continue to beat me up, but something that actually God has helped me to be able to forgive those who have caused me harm. I mean, even today, you don't even know. I'm gonna tell you, when I was just real quick, I took a total forgiveness class, Bible class in church when we first moved to Georgia, and I was so shocked that God put in front of me about the abuse that I had early, that He put that person in front of me. I'm like, oh my God, this man's been dead for 40 years. I didn't even know that I had not forgiven him. But once I released that forgiveness, my blessings start flowing. So, you got to continue to ask for forgiveness, as far as how my faith has helped me to be able to do that even today, every day. You got to continue to ask for forgiveness, because you don't even know that you're not forgiving someone that has done something to you.
Mm-hmm. I love that, Wanda. It's so true. And I'm going through my own journey in helping others. I think you may or may not know, but I've gone through this Dream Builders program 3 times. And a big piece of it is forgiveness, and forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself for mistakes that you have made, that maybe you have made a bad investment in the past. You made an investment in some place and you didn't get back what you were hoping to. And then you remember this mistake you had, and you don't forgive yourself, and that stops you from making other investments that could be wonderful, because you haven't forgiven yourself for the mistake that you've made. And we're
absolutely. You have to forgive yourself first. That's the first thing. And you said, why do I forgive myself first? But it really starts there. You have to forgive yourself first. And that actually helps you to get through to forgive that other person that
Hey,
you were.
Wanda, could you mute your phone? I feel like it's buzzing near your microphone and it's coming.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No
Is
problem.
that better?
Yes, much better.
Okay. Okay.
I
All right.
didn't want to bring it up, but it kept happening and happening, and I just,
Yeah, it's just something. Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, I that's so wonderful. And how do you think that has affected? Do you feel like that's affected your writing in any way?
No, because what I did, and actually this is something that I did with my book, I actually put in after each chapter a journal. I want people to go along my journal, my journey, to actually talk about if they've been through, like we read my chapter, have you been through this? What can you do to get over that? So the journal actually was something that when I wrote those questions in there, that actually helped me to be able to say, oh yeah, I have to think about it too. So I want people to not stay stuck. They say, oh, Wanda went through this, but have you been through that? Because you may not have been through it, but you may know somebody else who's been through that, right? So having that to write after each chapter, which is something, it's like a bonus that I'm actually giving with that. I want people to realize that um, don't get stuck in those ways that you think is okay,
Mhm.
and you don't think about it. But when God put that on your mind to, especially if it start continue to affect your judgment, affect how you feel, affect how you treat people, um, or affect as far as your business, you
Mhm.
need to really think about what is it that's stopping me from succeeding to where I need to go.
Wow. I am so excited I was able to pre-order your book, but
Yeah,
obviously I haven't been able to read it or see any part of it yet.
yeah,
Do you realize that your book has just met more cocooned butterflied from
hmm,
a story to a self-help book?
yes, yes,
Because now it's like a guidebook in a
yes,
journal.
yes,
So that is amazing. That I'm so excited. I can't wait to get that book.
yeah, yeah,
So if you like the idea of having friendly audience, a guidebook to tapping into God's grace and getting through the challenge and the fires that we go through in life, go ahead and type that link below into your browser, https://bit.ly GGTF Wanda, and you can grab your copy for just $20. All
yeah.
right, I'm just going to ask you one more question, Wanda,
Okay.
and that is, as we wrap this up, what do you hope readers will take away from your book, and how do you see your book making a difference?
Well, I'm hoping because I mean, that natural born social worker in me. I like to help people, and one of the things that actually, um, and I do mentoring as well. I do mentoring middle school girls. Is that self esteem and confidence? I want people, readers, to make sure. You may think, oh, I have the best self esteem or confidence, whatever. But you never know what you're going to need. So I want them to take away that don't let self-esteem stop you from doing what you need to do in your life. God put us on this earth for a reason. He made each one of us different, and he has that plan for us to be able to succeed in whatever we do. But I want them to take away, um, never say never, because God has a plans for you. He has a plan to give you that grace to be able to get through those fires, through those struggles that we're going through. A lot of stuff happened with COVID. I mean, it's that really is when I started writing this book,
Mhm.
during COVID. But just never say never, because I mean, like my title says, God's grace through the fire. I went through a fire, but I was able to get through those struggles to triumph. And that's why I named the title of that book, God's Grace Through the Fire, from Struggle to Triumph, to say, if I can do it, you can do it. Right? Because I mean, I said, Diane, I would never do this. God is funny. He said, yes, you will. And I can't believe the things that I've accomplished since I left corporate, to say that being a two-time collaboration author, but also now publishing my own book, to be able to get into my own business, WD Pearson Associates, with our company, of course, with Legal Shield. But not only that, but also doing a podcast, Ready, Set, Collaborate. And thank you, Diane, for that title, helping me with that title. so, so having you, Diane, as far as my marketing manager, it has really helped me to realize. I mean, a lot of things that I never realized as far as when you named me the business coach. I never did that because I like to help people. So I want to make sure that I help people get through anything that's stopping them from doing what you know. That it's always a message. There's always a story within us. And some people say, well, I don't want to tell that story, but you don't realize how you are going to be able to help other people. And that's what I'm hoping that people will get from my book, from this. And if you don't, you have it, one of your friends, one of your family members, somebody may need this book to say, I need this book in order to get through those struggles that I've been going through.
That's amazing. And what a great book. And I'm going to throw it out there, friends. If you've watched any piece of this interview and you will go ahead and put in the comments something that you appreciated, something that you learned, or some happy light bulb moment, go ahead and put it in the comments. And if we get 10 unique comments, I'm going to put all of them, I'm going to put in a drawing, and I'm going to give a free book to someone who comments. Now, it has to be a unique, you only get counted one time. So don't comment 10 times and think you're going to get 10 entries. Yes. It needs to be a thoughtful comment. So watch this for a second, say something thoughtful, and we're going to give away. I don't know, Wanda, would you say, if I buy a book to give away, will you buy a book to give away?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well, let's give away 2 books.
You got 2 books, right? So yes, no, definitely, because I mean, I know someone that can probably utilize this book along with a family member. So I would definitely love to give a book away. So yeah, just interact with us, just comment, let us know what you got from my interview.
Right, and so I know a lot of you will be watching this afterwards. So go ahead, put down in the comments something positive about this amazing interview with Wanda. And when we get 10 unique comments, we will put all 10 of them into a drawing for 2 books. Of course, if there's 20 books, we'll still give away 2 books, one from me and one from Wanda.
Yes.
Go ahead and grab your copy. It's a self-help book. You get to learn from Wanda and pour your own insight into it to create really a fantastic push forward towards your goals. So thanks for your time today, Wanda.
Thank you.
So enjoyed getting to work with you, and I know we're going to do a lot of fantastic things continually.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Diane. Bye. Bye.